So I went up to Harlem with a friend of mine who was an architect, and he was taking pictures of architectural detail and friezes and gargoyles and green men. And I turned around and I saw Omega Oil on the wall, and I said, when did that get there? I called them fading ads and decided that I'm going to call it the Fading Ad Campaign to play on Ad Campaign. It's interesting to come back and see how the sign has faded over time. It's been over 12 years since I first photographed the sign, and I see a noticeable difference in the color of the paint. This is a great block because you got double your money. There was a R.H. Macy's sign right over there. It said R.H. Macy's Stables, orders taken here. And this must have been an old stable right over there because it's gone now. The whole wall was taken out. You can see the bottom of it still sticking out over there. I was HIV positive since '84, and I was, in the back of my mind, somewhat seeing the world through that lens, but not knowing how my connection was to this project. I think what happens is they become part of your everyday landscape. They become a landmark. They become something you visit on the way home. They let you know, this is 2 blocks from my house. We live in a city, so we don't have mountains and rivers and trees to give us a sense of space where we are. We have buildings, and I think when one of our buildings is adorned by one of these ads, it becomes part of our urban landscape. Aesthetically, I mean, I love the work of the artists who originally painted them, the fonts and the color, and I try to treat them like divas. You know, I try to get their right side and make sure I get the right lighting on the wall. And the nice thing about photographing a building is it's very patient unless it comes down before you can take a picture of it. My friend Ruthie Goldberg told me about this sign about 2 years ago. She moved to this neighborhood with her husband Bill, and she worked at Empire State College, where I got my undergrad, where the Fading Ad Campaign was kind of born. Ironically, it's right next door to the Harlem Village Signs Company, so if you ever want to look for Harlem Village signs, you just come right here. Kind of imagine what Harlem was like back in the day when this was painted, and you forget that New York was a cow and horse town before it was a taxi and car town. So I'm learning about history, but it's also a story about me as an everyday person / artist who is, you know, has this ongoing project that doesn't want to go away. Here we are, what I call the Bendix Home Laundry and Zaccaro Realty Pentimento. It's like a double exposure of a fading ad. You have one fading ad underneath, and you have another one painted on top, and they both started bleeding through. Zaccaro Realty is the same company, same family as Geraldine Ferraro's husband, Zaccaro, and Bendix Home Laundry was a very popular brand of home washing machines, and they also produced or endorsed All, which was a detergent for home laundry. And here we are on the corner of Elizabeth and Kenmare in Little Italy. Little Italy, what's left of Little Italy. There's another one, Rappaport, M. Rappaport's Music, which is the original 24 on the Fading Ad campaign website. It's such a beautifully painted sign, and it was exposed for about 2 months, and they built a Rite Aid pharmacy right up against it. So it's still there, and in 100 years they'll look at it again. But what was nice is when I went to photograph this sign, I had my husband's niece was visiting from Italy, and she said to me, "How do you find these signs?" I said, "Well, let's go. Let's go in the car." You know, we were visiting Italian relatives. I couldn't understand a word they were saying. "Come with me." So we start driving around Queens, and all of a sudden I go down Jamaica Avenue, and I see this construction site. I said, "See, there's a construction site. Let's check this one out." I break the chain link fence that was holding the thing shut and opened it up, and there it was. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. So I jumped in the pit, started photographing it, and then all the neighbors started coming out saying, "Oh, I'm glad you're shooting this. Oh, thank goodness someone's taking this picture. Isn't it gorgeous?" And people started interacting with me, and my niece said, "You set this up. You knew that was there." And I'm like, "No, I didn't know it was there." To her, it was just so staged, because it was the perfect, like, search and find mission. I didn't see how my project tied in with this, and my mentor at Lucy Winner said, "Don't you see, you're running around New York like a madman, documenting these things that never expected to live so long. And you never expected to live so long." Then that even catapulted me even further with the project, and kind of doing it almost as a tribute to my friends who have died, my friends who were living with AIDS, and me, who never seemed to develop any AIDS-related illnesses and survived. So I kind of saw my life as a fading ad, just up there on a quiet wall, just kind of trying to go by unnoticed. And hopefully the northern exposure will keep me around for even longer. So.